run cycle. Does anybody need anything like right away? Chloe, you okay? Carmen, are you okay? Okay. So again, the folder is, I just called it run, I think. And I see that there's some things in there. I will look at those after I redo my little demo for you. Okay. All right, so what I had done here was just, and this should look somewhat familiar to you, but this is new. You know, so let me go through this step by step. So what I had done on this numbers layer here is I just put a whole bunch of things that I can turn off and on. It's got the arcs, it's got some of the words in there that I'm just using to describe. On this timing layer, what I had done was bring up the idea that this is the sine wave, that the little jelly bean on top of the head that I keep talking about. That's how it moves. As this character would be running forward, that's where the little jelly bean would be on all of those particular frames. On this little chart right here, these are parallel, just like our walk cycle. There's a contact down, passing, and up position. And I put these two little marks right there because there are actually 3 up positions, drawings 4, 5, and 6, drawings 10, 11, and 12. And so that's why these are parallel, because in the run cycle, there really are only 6 drawings that get paralleled or copied again, so that there's a total of 12. And I'll go over this here in just a second. This is very similar to the one I did last week. But what I wanted to do is just talk about this little guy right here. Let me make sure that I'm on the right layer with it. Yeah, we're on this layer. So what this is that this is a character. And I think that what I would like to do is just to remind all of you that what I had said last week is still very true. The idea that if a character is running super fast, that the amount of up and down motion on this sine wave is really condensed into more of a straight line, if not a perfectly straight line, because you're spending all your energy into moving forward. And so what you can do as an animator, you can say, I'm gonna have my head, my line of action, my body, both hands are out in front of the character, and he's running so fast that his feet are just doing a Roadrunner thing here. So where there's just a couple of different drawings that are oscillating around, maybe 3 different drawings that are just going back and forth, and it looks like it's moving around in circles because his feet are moving so fast. So that's the fastest that you can have a run cycle. It's that you have a held body and you have the arms out here, and he's like, he's screaming, you know, the train's coming, and his feet are moving so fast that they're just blurred. You could even draw like little tennis shoes in here if you wanted, and the tennis shoes are just going to be randomly placed, and it should look like the feet are just moving around in a total of 3 drawings. That's as fast as you could ever do a run cycle. And I think I tried to mention this last week, that saying that if you have your arc of motion, and your arc of motion was this oval right here, like the Roadrunner, that if you had 1 foot here and 1 foot here, then it would just oscillate back and forth. It would just go left and right and left and right. It wouldn't look like it's running in a circle at all. So you would at least need 3 positions in order to get something to make it look like it's rotating around. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you should know that the number 3 is not random, it's important. And then you can break it down. You could have 4 or 5 or 6. And in a 6 drawing run cycle, that's what this one looks like right here. So let me explain maybe even just a little more carefully what I did from last week. So this is very close to what I had last week, where I took the head and the neck and the body, and I drew them just on the first frame. Head, neck, and body. And I put the little circle here that makes up the deltoid, and little circle here that makes up the pelvis, and the little crosshairs in it that make up where the center of those two areas would be, and just made a rough of just that shape. And remember that this was coming from weeks ago from my character design, where I decided that my character was 6.5 heads tall. All right, so the next thing I did was I needed to know where this head, neck, and body was going to be copy and pasted. And so in this diagram right here, I see that I've got my contact position, my down position, then my passing position, just like the walk cycle, it's an identical to the same position as the contact. And we fudge that as animators just because it makes it easier. And then there are 3 up positions. And so I've got 4, 5, and 6 that are a little bit up, all the way up. And then 4 and 6 are close to each other, just like 1 and 3 are close to each other. And then it repeats. So after that, it repeats that 4 or 1 becomes 7, 8, 9. Contact, down, passing, up, up. This is supposed to be an 11, and then into 12. And so what I wanted to do is I want to make sure I got the contact, down, passing, up, all the way up, and then 4 and 6 are the same as each other. And then I'm just going to use the same positions in parallel for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so that's what I did. I just copy and pasted the head, neck, and body. And so in the first frame right here, I just drew it, and then I copied it. And then the second drawing was all the way down. So I pasted it according to this little mark here on my diagram. And then on the next one, I just copy and pasted it. I didn't move it at all. And then on the fourth one, I moved it up just a little bit. On the fifth one, I moved it up even a little bit more. On the fifth one, I just kind of winged it and moved it down a little bit. And then on the next one, I just copy and pasted it because 1 and 7 are parallel. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, then I redid that same thing with the rest of the parallels that I did. 8 is down, 9, I just copy and pasted it, left it in its right place, and then up, up, and then the cycle starts. So when I play this, you can see that the head's working, that it's working. This one just happens to be on 1. So I know that we had kind of made ours look like it was on 2s last week, but this is only a half a second stride. And so my take on this is that what I did in preparing this document for you is that I built the line arc of motion here, just like we did last week. You should recognize this little bean shape here. And I put my ankle positions evenly spaced, and then up and back at 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you can see just from my rough, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 5, position 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is all the way out before it hits the ground again. And so that's my take here. On this, which I was working on this afternoon just to prepare for today, I decided I was going to try something that didn't quite work. And in the drawing here, I kind of like the idea of his hand being backwards, kind of like it was clenched or in some sort of fist. And then in the front version, his hand was kind of just in a different position, but it doesn't move very smoothly. It looks like he's flicking his wrist or something. So I'm not convinced that I like that about this hand position here. So anyway, in this, I've got the head, neck, and body moving correctly. It's not out of place. It's moving along this time. It's working well. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to explain that in this layer 2, which was my rough layer, and layer 5, which is more of a clean layer, and layer 1, let me remember what layer 1 was here. Oh, this is the horizon. So in the clean layer, what I'm going to do is, well, actually, let me explain. In the rough layer, what I did was just in the light blue, I got, like I did last week, I did the foot moving first. So in my clean version here, what I'll do is I'll copy this foot, but I want to use the right color. So I use this like really crazy purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my foot as a wedge. And I'm going to copy it. And we're going to just do the same thing that we did last week. But now I know where it goes exactly. So I'm going to copy this. Oops, I cut it. I'm going to copy it. Go to the next frame, paste it. And it's still doing that same thing as it did last week. Paste it. And now I'm going to move it here. I'm going to put the rotation point here. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to move it down and over. And I'm going to copy it, go to the next drawing, touch the stage again for some stupid reason, paste it. Now I'm going to move it back to this position. I'm going to go to this frame. I'm going to touch the stage to paste it. And this one, what I can do is I can move and rotate, and notice that in my rough, his toe is starting to bend right there. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to kill the front of his toe and then just build it back out again. All right, and then on this frame, I'm going to paste it again. I'm going to move it, rotate it, and it should stay the same shape as his foot, which is different than the walk cycle, because there were 2 or 3 frames in the walk cycle where the toe was bending. All right, so now I'm going to go to this frame, paste, move it up here, rotate it. And I think at this point, the thing that's important to remind everyone is that the reason why I'm doing this is to make sure that the feet are working on the arc first, but also that the tendency is that if you were to draw these over and over again, is that as the more and more you draw them, the more and more off model they become. They get smaller. The tendency to draw any part of a character over and over again, your tendency is to actually see, even in my rough, you can see that now I just killed that. Actually, let me see this. That even in my rough, that drawing of the foot is smaller. Right, so this is just the right foot, which is a darker blue. And I got to do this again with the other foot here in just a moment. All right, so I caught something caught my eye here. And I'm going to play the animation because I think I pasted 2 feet on one particular frame. So let me play this. Yeah, and I think there's, let me go through here. This one, this foot needs to go away. There we go. Now let's play it. Okay, So once again, I think that what we're looking at is just to make sure that when we're doing this, we're making sure that this foot animates okay on the rough. We go through that frame by frame to make sure that when you're copying, pasting, that foot looks good and that it's moving in the right manner, that it's following the arc correctly. Remember that your arc can be a little bit different. Up here, I think I made the suggestion that this was the suggestion of this guy running in the Olympics, and that the foot was landing almost right underneath the head, where my foot is landing a little bit ahead of the head, if that makes any sense. And it was really, really high in the back. So this should all make sense to you just from what I had done last week. All right, so then my next step in this version is to put the legs in there, and I'm okay with the feet, and I'm okay with my rough. Remember, come off the butt and do the near foot first, the near leg first, calf muscle, go back into the ankle, kneecap if you want. All right, and then just go frame by frame. One thing that this does not have on my, compared to the example from last week, was the arc for the knee. And if we wanted to, we can put that back in there, but I'm on a roll right here. So let me continue with my leg. And then the next step is just the hand position. And so just a reminder that not only was I putting the crosshairs in for the deltoid, or the crosshair and the shape in there for his pelvis, was also a reminder to try to keep the volume of the legs consistent. All right, so there's my legs, my right leg, and it looks okay. Technically, it's still rough, but it's more visible. And remember, we were doing this all in one layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this hand. So on the clean layer, I'm just going to take my hand. I'm going to do palm of the hand, fingers, flatter, thumb, and just make a shape like that. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to copy and paste it, just like we did the other one. Copy, go to this guy, touch the stage, paste it. Now I'm going to put the rotation point. And remember that what I was seeing from the first video test was that it's got too much of a flap in it. So I'm just gonna not overdo this right here. I'm just gonna go to this frame, paste it, copy it, and I'm just gonna remind myself to not overdo that motion. So I'm only rotating it a little bit as opposed to bringing it full 90 degrees right there. So it's only like about 45 degrees total. And I'm gonna maybe arc this one just a little more, and that's it. I'm just gonna leave it there. and maybe just a little bit more. So just, that's enough, right? Oh my God, stop, So now I'm just gonna paste it, and I'm gonna keep it in the down position, just like that. Okay, so now we're on the copy of 1. Paste. Hold on 1 second. Now I'm just rotating it to get it into the position that it started with. And that's my hand. All right, so now let's just take a look and see if that hand, the copying and pasting positions of that hand is working. All right, looks okay. So let's put the arm in there. Again, this is my rough. So I'm gonna do a purple line on top of this. Again, sometimes it's easier to think bicep, tricep. Sometimes it's easier to just kind of minimalize those shapes. Makes it easier to draw. And again, you could, if you wanted to, have an arc for the elbow. Yeah. Yes. 1. You muted yourself? Someone said, hey, Billy, and then they muted themselves? Hello? Hello?
My mic was on, but I was just talking to myself and I forgot to mute it.
Oh, sorry. All right, so the other thing that I would like to just remind you here is that I'm still doing a rough. Even though I called it clean, I can always just change the name of that layer. But what I'm trying to do is make sure that my arc of motion was correct, that the elbow is moving correct, that these places are moving correctly. But what's happening, I can see, is that I've got lots of tangents. I've got lots of places where, like right here, where the bicep is right in line with the arm. And so if I was doing a true clean, I would have to figure out, like right here, the elbow has to break the plane of the back a little bit, just to make sure that we can see that it's an arm and not 2 back lines, if you will. All right, so let's take a look at that. All right, now I'm looking at, remember that this is on 1s, which is what I wanted last week. The file that I was showing you last week had everything coming in on 2s, but this is the actual good timing for a good fast run that has a forward lean of about 20 to 25%. Remember, the line of action is still in there. Technically, it's still in there. So I've got my right and my left arm right there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then the option behind that would be is to go out and do the right, or the left leg and the right arm. So on this layer right here, let us take our pencil and I'm just going to get in the blue range here. I'm going to copy the volume of this foot here. Let's write that, and we're going to follow my numbers. This is drawing 1. but now it's in position 7. Or actually, yes, it's in position 7. So now I'm going to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then back again. And just the same thing as we talked about last week. What you might want to do is when you're copying and pasting this is not only are you following your rules here of where the position for the feet are on the arc, but you're also paying attention to where the position is so that you're not going to have a leg that you're going to see all the parts of the leg, if you will. All right, hopefully this is making a little bit more visual sense than the one I did last week. All right, same thing on this foot as we did on drawing number 4. We're on drawing number 10 now, is now we're going to get the toe to bend. So now go back in. On this frame, the toe is bent. On this frame, we just put it here, and it's okay if this one is just touching. It's good. On this frame, this is up in the air. And now we'll test it. Save, test. All right, and I'm studying it. I'm looking at it as it goes around. It doesn't seem like it's flapping around or moving around incorrectly. So now let's follow our rough on the clean layer. Again, we're going to come off the volume of this shape here. We're going to do the quads, hamstrings. Now it's at this point where I can reiterate that little bit of reminder to everyone that if you wanted to put just a couple of little lines right there to remind you that that's the away leg. And I don't recommend ever doing that thing where you saw on the animation textbooks to color in the away leg a different color. It's a bad idea. All right, so this is kind of what I was mentioning before. The knee is in front. Make a space that goes here and just get that line working. That's all you need right there for the third drawing. For the fourth drawing, kind of when I'm doing this, I'm kind of paying attention to what the other leg looked like. True, it could be a little smaller visually, but for the most part, I want to keep these volumes the same. So I got a little calf muscle in there. And I think that I also wanted to do this in real time for you, just to give you a really clear visual about how long it takes. All right, so here we've got a hamstring, the calf muscle, and then the tibia. That's all we've got right there. We can see it come to life right here. Again, I'm coming off of this front of the body, tibia, calf muscle. Come off the butt. And one more. Come off forward, butt, calf muscle, tibia. All right, save, play it. And nothing is flashing, nothing is flapping around right here. I play it. Couple of legs look a little skinny. I'm going backwards, forwards, forwards, backwards, at speed. Okay, it looks okay. Hand. And let's take this shape right here, because it's going to look weird if we draw a hand like this. So let's go to this position here and just look at what this hand is going to look like. So in our pencil mode, draw thumb, draw the fingers curled, the palm of the hand, and then just the wrist. Let me redraw that. I could do better. Palm, fingers. I think that at this point, the thumb might be like inside the palm of the hand. So I'm just going to keep it something like that. I actually want to make it a little bigger. Remember that hands are pretty big appendages. All right, so we'll do the same thing here. We're just going to copy it. Wrist rotation point, copy. Now remember that we're here. So let's just go forwards in time, paste it. Rotate it a little bit. Go to this one. The rough is behind. Don't even do anything there. This one, don't even do anything. This one, the hand is in front. So paste it. Bring it out here, rotate it. I'm going to shrink this one a little bit. Copy it. Paste it. And I'm going to leave it into this position like that. And then I'm going to go to this position, which is coming, it's starting to come back now. So I'm just going to paste it right here. Then I'm going to paste it right there. I'm just going to leave it because that's where it should be. This one, it's behind. This one, it's still behind. So we're in frame 4, which matches position 10. It's still behind back over there. Now we're on frame number 5. So let's just guess that it's going to be about right here. And right there. So on this frame, I think we're okay. So now what I'm going to do is going to make sure that the hand either isn't going backwards or we're missing one. So I'm seeing it flash right there. And I'm worried. So let's just take a look at that position of the hand. So we're just going to go frame by frame here. Hand is moving backwards. It's coming here. It's going there. So these two are too close together. And I can fix that by either putting this one closer to that one, but that's in the right position. So this one, I want to move it just over here. All right, go forwards in time. And then I could put that hand here. So let me paste it and just put it right there. All right, so let's play it. All right, so let's draw that arm in there just really quickly. We're going to start on this position. So this is odd to me because this looks like it's in the wrong position. So I'm going to tweak this a little bit. From our immediate rough, we wanted this hand to be out here. So even though we started in the middle, I wanted to check and make sure that these positions are going to be okay for us. And I'm going to paste the hand here because I think it's missing. And now let's play it one more time. All right, that looks okay. All right, so once again, I'm using my blue color. I'm using just the rough to fine tune, elbow, radius, ulna, next drawing. And remember the away arm, there's not much to draw. You just got to make sure that the elbow, which is like covered up right here, there's nothing to draw on that frame. Here you definitely see the elbow. But there's a couple of frames right there on the away arm and hand where you just have to follow and make sure you get them into the right position. But there are no technical drawings back there. If you do a drawing, you might end up making it look strange. Just an elbow. No hand, just the lower arm and the full arm in the first key position. All right, so let's take a look at that. So now, once again, what I'm looking for is just any of these line arms going backwards. Okay, so that looks okay to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something strange and play it at 25%. Just because sometimes when it's bigger or smaller, you can see different things. And it looks okay. It looks like a good 12 frame run cycle. All right, so that's exactly what I wanted to do for you today. You've got all those parts. What I would like to do is render a movie. This is version 2. And just for quick argument, I'm going to drop this in the chat. And it's a pretty small file. And I'm also going to drop it in the classroom. Under discussions. And someone's emailing me through my inbox. I always have to take care of those immediately because if I don't, they disappear, they go away. All right, so in the discussion, run version 2. Which hopefully makes a little bit more sense. All right, so that's there. Okay, so now what I'd like to do right now is 2 things at once, actually 3 things at once. We're going to take a break. I'm going to finish attendance. And when we come back, I'm going to look at your uploads for your runs. So take a break. What I see stuff is uploaded. Stuff. All right, I see these are, I think all the first ones are taken care of. So the first thing I see here is smoke from Reagan. Reagan is not with us this evening. So if he sees this, we'll be able to critique it. Smoke, loop. All right, I'm not sure if we had seen this before. It does look like it's just kind of wiggling around. I think I might have asked you to redo this at one point. just for some better points. All right, and then the next thing I see is pixie dust. Dacia has got pixie dust. Loop. Oh yeah, this is great. This is terrific, Dacia. This is great. Perfect. All right. All right, then I see explosion from Reagan again. Maybe you'll see this on video. No, I remember seeing this. I thought I was giving that another round of fixes, but that's okay. All right, so now I see late 2 folder. Let me just take a look at this. All right, I see Dacia. I see your gestures. Flag. Dacia, are you with us today, Dacia? I thought I saw your name. All right, so let me just pull those and I'll make sure later if they're needing a grade. Okay. Oh, I didn't. Did I put that away? Okay. Gestures. Okay. Ryan gestures. Yeah, we've seen these before.
Yeah, I don't think I think those are old because I haven't submitted anything new for gestures.
Okay. Were you planning on redoing it? We've seen these before, right?
Yeah. So
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. I don't know why they were there. I
just
I
haven't
haven't
graded them.
touched them, so I don't know. Maybe
I
you
haven't-
didn't look at them.
I haven't graded it. It's possible that you said you were going to redo them.
I don't think I don't remember saying anything like that.
All right. No worries. No worries. All right. Water splash. Or wait. This late 2 folder. Chloe's got something in there.
I didn't upload anything for this week. I think if it's I don't know what it was, but I think I uploaded stuff last week or the week before that we already looked at. Oh, the bomb, yeah.
Was that was new?
No, that's not new. We looked at that a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Are you gonna? Is that one done though?
I want to just fix one part. I realized when I finished finished it, I forgot to add the shards of the bomb. So I just need to add that on one more layer.
Okay. Don't put it in the same folder though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Put it in the explosion folder. If
Sure.
if the explosion folder is locked, then let me take a look at it. I don't think I locked it. And the reason why I'm pretty sure I didn't lock it, because everything is going to the end of May. Because in my history of games class, something horribly went wrong with the transfer of data from one class to the other. And it screwed up every single one of my due dates. So I've been very cautious, and everything is due at the end of May now. All right, so Rachel, James. James might have taken off already.
What's going on?
Oh, you're
No,
there.
I'm here.
So James, do you have a water splash here you'd like me to look at?
Oh, I think we looked at it the other day.
We did, okay.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
just take one more look at it. No, this one needs some love right here.
Oh, that's not mine.
I know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
James.
I think,
That's weird. I said download it and it's not behaving. There it is.
yeah, I believe the problem was, which I didn't fix, is it's on a two-dimensional plane. So all the little mini droplets all are breaking on the same line across the screen.
Right, and I recommended putting a more, you see what my mouse is doing?
Yes.
Yeah, I recommended making it more in perspective. Are you still planning on doing that?
If I have time, I'll do my best, but I mean, chances are I probably won't get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, and now I see script with gestures. I'll look at that on my own time, but let's look at this walk. Oh, I already have the walks going, but let's look at walk part 2. Yolanda.
Yeah, I think, did we already look at it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we already looked at this one.
Yeah.
All right, that's okay. I'm just checking. I'm just
Yeah.
checking. Carmen, I see you in your window. Did we see this one already?
I think so. This was just the
Oh, yeah,
different
this one's,
arms, right?
this was walk 2. Yeah, this one's very good.
Okay.
It's just that I haven't graded it yet. And Reagan. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Well, that's actually looking pretty good. The arm is stiff. I think Reagan, if you see this, if you can get a bend in the arm when the forward's position, that'll really kind of clean it up a bit. And even though I say keep the legs the same color, you've got a very stylistic choice in making both legs black, which kind of makes it hard to see the away leg. What I might recommend is painting the away leg just a dark gray or something like that, just so that we can see if it's moving correctly, but the away arm would need to be there. And see if you can reposition the drawing so that their feet are in the frame. Okay, so that was Magnus. Do we see a walk
I have
from
nothing
you?
to show.
Not this one right here?
No, you already checked it out.
Okay, so let's check the run. Actually, let me refresh this. Okay, run. And what did I do? I did put 100 here, which makes it, it's not weighted as heavily as the other things are. So I just wanted to make sure that you're getting an idea of how to do it correctly. So let's take a look at Yolanda. Uh-oh, she's running with a cane.
Yeah, this time I didn't have the cane touch the ground whatsoever.
Oh, no, that it's fine, right? She can't leave her cane behind when she's running for the bus. Yeah, I think this is good. There's a little place where the animation kind of sticks though.
Yeah,
Um,
I was having trouble with that.
without seeing your file, let me take a guess. Hold on,
I think it's
so I'm going to start at the beginning, frame 1. Oh, I think that this could be a problem. So when you're looking at frame number 1, and this goes for everybody in all different kinds of animation, whether you're doing stop motion or 3D or 2D or some newfangled kind of animation, you always want to follow somewhat of a process. And your first process, if you don't have a video camera, would be just going on YouTube and looking at people running. Not animation, but just live action people running. And see if you can find that one particular keyframe where the arms are at full stride. In the very first frame, the right foot is as far forward as it's going to go. That's an extreme. The left foot is as far back as it's going to go. That's an extreme position. It's a key position. It's very uncommon to have the arms delayed like they are in a walk cycle by any number of frames. Usually your arms reach their east and west, furthest right, furthest left extremes on the pretty much the same frame. That's the reason why run cycles are a little easier. So in this contact position with the right foot forward, in your version, your left foot is already forward. Try moving this arm, swinging this arm all the way back up, because what's happening is that you spend, so this is frame 1, 2, 3, 4. So all these frames right here, this arm isn't moving. And then it starts to go forward. And then, yeah, so I think that that's what's happening. You've got a lot of arms right here. And you've also, so let's see what it looks like at speed. Yeah, so see if you can redirect your arc a little bit. See if you can figure out where those arm positions should be. You know, if your right foot forward on frame number 1, then your right arm should be back on frame 1. And then follow becomes really important to know where the wrist positions are on the arc. You know, it's looking pretty good. The feet, the head, the body itself, and the arms are pretty close, but see if you can just tweak those arms a little bit.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thanks, Yolanda.
Thank you.
Hi. Carmen.
Hello.
Oh, stop it. Oh, what the heck is going on with this command? Okay, it's still not looping. Loop. There we go. What's it? It looks pretty good. I'm looking at one thing at a time. Right hand, left hand looks good. They're opposite. Feet look good. Okay, good. Are you happy with it?
I feel like it's kind of sticky, but, and also like her sleeves are really puffy, and I know you were talking about like those adjacent angles or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know if I should like create more space in between like her dress and the sleeves.
No, I think it's okay. I think that you've got puffy sleeves. So is it
Yeah.
animated correctly? Yeah, I think that it's correct. If we were to look at it frame by frame, I think that, yeah, like this, it becomes a tangent. Oops.
Yeah.
that becomes a tangent right there, but you know, it's okay. I think that we're still learning this. I think that if you wanted to try anything, what might be fun is to
Mhm.
see if you can get some overlapping action happening in the hair.
Mm.
So in order to do that, let me see if I can explain it quickly and cleanly for you. It's not a hard thing to do. It's just, it takes a little bit of doing. So when your head is neutral, it goes, let's just think about this graphically, that it's going to go into an up position
Mhm.
and it's going to go into a down position. So when the head is going into the down position, the hair would be falling behind it. So it would be trailing behind it. So this is your normal hair.
Mhm.
And when the head is going up, it's still going to be traveling behind it. But then as it goes down, it flips over. Can you see me in your monitor
Yeah.
in the window? So the easiest way to think about this is that this is your head.
Mhm.
I actually let me do it this way because it might match the monitor better. It depends on if it's mirrored. So this is the head going up and down. The
Mhm.
overlapping action on the hair that drags behind it. So this is the
Yeah.
head, right?
Mhm. So like the
Yeah.
tail thing we did,
Like the what?
like the tail that we did
Yes,
attached to the
yes.
ball. Okay.
Yes, but this is cycling. And there's only technically 6 different drawings. So, but as the head's going up, the hair trails behind it, and then it flips over. So see if you can get a little bit of just the big part of the curl of her hair
Okay.
to work. It might just loosen it up just a little bit. Otherwise, it's really good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let me put that out. Okay, good. Ryan. Okay, this is good, Brian. Your body and head have a nice little overlapping action to them. Just kind of like what we said, Carmen. I mean, it's very subtle, but it is working. The lines are sketchy, but it's a sketchy character. So yeah, this works really well. I think you can be pretty happy with this.
Yay.
12 different drawings is working pretty well. Yay! It's fun, it's loose, it's working. Good job. All right, Juan. Okay, yeah, this is working good too. Let me look at this frame by frame. There's something that's catching my eye with just this away arm. All right, so I want everyone to just look at this. Ryan, if you're on mic, how many frames do you have in this? Should be 12 drawings.
This isn't mine.
This is 1. I'm sorry, Ryan. Ryan. I'm sorry, 1. So I want everyone to just look at the first contact position here. The arms are really swinging out really far. And you've got these like dumbbells on the end of his hand, which can become an issue when you're animating forms. But when the right hand starts to go forward and the left hand starts to come backwards, going frame by frame, it goes down. But then on this frame, they replace each other. So this is kind of what I meant by tangents, that the left arm is hanging out there. And then in the very next frame, the right arm is right on top of it. So the apparent motion is that that hand doesn't move. So watch it at speed. You see that hand just kind of clicking right there? So your job as a animator would be is to under this position's working okay. This could be working okay. But this hand here, you would probably want to redirect it. You would probably want to say in a form of cheat is to get that hand more close to the body so that in the very next frame, the other hand is not in the same place at all. And then it's up to you whether you want to say, hey, you know what? Let's take this hand and move it further in so that when we get to this hand, it's completely gone. So that there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there, and that we don't see it until this frame. So that I think that would help remove that little sticking bit right there. It's a little cheat, and we do cheats like this in Maya. We do cheats like this all over the place. The trick would be is that stop motion animators have to make sure that they don't have this kind of placement error, because then they would have to reshoot their entire shot. So just see if you can tweak that away arm. It's flashing on us. Okay. Delilah. Okay, looks good. You followed all the rules. It looks good. Yep, it looks good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Delilah. Yay! And Tristan. All right, something's clicking up here with your left hand. Let me see if I can find out what it is. So I'm just going to go frame by frame. The arm comes down, left arm. It gets really small right there, Tristan. I think you might want to decide, hey, you know, you've got this upper arm that has a certain volume to it, a certain meat to it. The lower arm has a certain kind of meat to it. And then it kind of diminishes here. The upper arm, especially both arms do it, that they're not moving very much in the upper arm, but the lower arm does move a little bit. But especially the left arm, the lower arm really shrinks. And then here it's like it disappears. Because of that, we see that. We see that little shrinking. You see that little shrinking right there? In their first couple of frames right there, see if you can build your arc better, because really, truly, this left arm is going to come all the way out into this position eventually. So it has a really big swing right there. So if you've got 12 drawings, it's got to go 6 drawings to get all the way to this position and 6 to get back. So see if you can plan that arc out just a little better so that the arm isn't telescoping or shrinking on you. The body, the legs look okay. But see if you can tweak that away arm.
I definitely will.
Okay. All right. Let me put this away and refresh. And I'm just going to use my powers of observation here. Nothing looks like, it doesn't look like anyone uploaded anything brand new right here. So what I would like to do is talk about good strategies for getting into your final, putting your run, catch, jump thing together. So I want to just take a pause. I'm going to switch over to Firefox. I'm going to look at my Pinterest board for story. All right, so I posted this just this afternoon, which I thought was spectacular. These are really wonderful rough drawings. Just really, really nice. So just take a look at that. This character's got a very cartoony nature to it. The lines are rough, but they're not messy. It's just really good. All right, so I'm going to go back and I want to look at this one right here should be a good place to start. So let's just take a look at this character in rough form here. They're just standing. They got their arms out at their sides. It takes an anticipation. So the head comes down a full head and the arms tilt. And then that anticipation expands the character right off the ground. So this second drawing right here can very easily be expressed as an anticipation. And this anticipation can also take on the derivative, the tag of being a squash drawing. And then this drawing could be a stretch drawing. So just like our bouncing ball, we go from neutral to squash to stretch. And then there's something more elaborate happening here, that the character is actually jumping and landing into the camera. And I think we might have talked about this one already. So that's good, that the character increases in size and does a somersault and lands on their butt. You can see that there's actually some timing charts down here. So this would be a good jump. This would be one of a good jump. Little somersault. And like I said, make a note to yourselves, because I will stick to my claim that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drawings here. There are 9 drawings. And so if you wanted to get the jump with just 9 drawings, I will take that. I will take 9 drawings, 10 drawings for the jump. It doesn't have to be fully on 2s. It doesn't have to look beautiful. I'm just asking you to try it. And drawing like this is fine. If you wanted to draw just with gestural forms, this is fine. This is just a character dancing around. That would be great. All right, so this character is doing a backflip right here. But I think that the drawings are really great. That the rough form right there is really good. So what I want to see is, I want to see if we can get one of the jump action. So let me go backwards. So remember, that's on the storyboard board. And I think we talked about this one, guy just leaping up on the counter. But I wanted to find the one that was just a little more simple, this one. All right, so he's just jumping over a box. And I think that this is fine. You can do this too. So look back at your script that we did from 4 weeks ago. What did you think that you wanted to do? You can still amend that if you want. We still have 2 weeks. We still have 2 weeks. Plus, it doesn't have to actually be done and perfectly done on the 25th. I will not do grades probably until Sunday the 29th. So make a note for yourself, everyone. I will look at it. I'll give you a critique on it on the 25th for sure. We'll clap hands. We might even leave a little early. I know you've got other classes and other stuff. So if you need these days, Rector, just let me know. Just let me
I'm
know.
sure you said this before, but what percentage of our final grade is the final?
I calculated this out as on my, it's not accumulative. I might only make it like 200.
Okay.
And so right now with that, I don't see, it doesn't give me a total here. It doesn't give me a total of points. It just gives me a total of percentages. You know, and everyone's doing really well, but I'm not going to weight it crazy. I might even just
Yeah,
wait
that's
at
just what I was,
100.
my other classes, the final was like 20% of the final grades.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like, this is gonna be like 5%. Look, the
Right,
water
yeah.
splash was 350. The gestures were 400. I'm not gonna make it more than 100 points or so because because it's extra. It really truly is extra credit. And what I'll probably do is look at it, if you're able to think about this in terms of math, is that I will grade everything, I'll make sure that nothing's missing. And then when we get to the final, if there's a final in there, I'll grade those, but I won't put zeros in them. So what that will mean is that it'll just bump up your points. But for the people who didn't put one in there, it won't affect you negatively because you've got all this other stuff. In previous classes, we have never, on-ground classes, we have never had a chance to do all of this kind of work. So this is great. Remember that the scripts, the water splash, those are important. Getting those things in and done is going to be more important than actually putting together a final. Okay, everyone okay?
Yep, thank you for answering.
Okay, so what I wanted to do was, let's go back to this board. Just, I'm going to leave that sit there for just a second. I'm going to save this. And I want to make sure that it's in the right place. I'm going to save this to my desktop. All right. So what I would do is open a new file. And let's just kind of parse this out. Let's kind of look at this. And there's a couple of reasons why I like this, because the sketches are gestural, but they're really simple. You know, yes, of course, animation can be really complicated, but if you're just learning it, let's keep it simple. Let's just keep our character at least the same kind of proportion, but we don't have to like identify all the arcs of motion for each leg and arm and everything. Let's just kind of go for it here. So let's just demo how easily this can be done. And we've got 50 minutes here. This might not even take 50 minutes. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my background layer and I'm going to give myself a horizon. Again, right around the cinematic third. That's just my horizon. And in layer one, I'm just going to talk about the cinematics for just a second. And if everyone's listening and paying attention, taking notes, one of the best things that you can do in terms of film is to not cut on action. So I'm just going to make another layer here. And in this layer right here, I'm just going to say this layer number one is just going to be notes. Just kind of reminders for you. Hey, so now it's not listening to me at all. Notes. There we go. All right, so in this note layer, let's remind ourselves that we have a area in the corners where you should stay away from the corners because you want to stay away from action safe and title safe areas. You've got a point right in the very middle of your screen that is a cinematic thirds. You've got a point right, all these points right here can be focal points. So at least in your sketches and in your final, if you're thinking about this, thinking about where your focal points are. When you're doing rough thumbnails, you can even think to yourself, hey, I don't even want to approach doing these thumbnails unless you were going to do a map. And a lot of times when I'm doing my storyboards, all I ever do is talk about maps because I'm just going to draw out the bird's eye view of a stage right here. And remember, we're just in our notes layer, that our character is going to start here. He's going to walk. The character is going to run, jump, and land right here. So it's up to you. So now what we were thinking of here is that this is the ending right here, is now that the camera is following along with this character. So the camera is tracking right along with this character. If we had the camera way out here and the camera could see the entire shot, then this would be a static camera. You can have that too, but your character might end up being really small. You know, you might have your character walking something like this. And you could do that too, but you've already done a walk cycle where the character is at or around one of the cinematic thirds. And so if you've got a character that is built and is walking, I think that what you want to think about is that how do you get that character to behave with the camera? So behaving with the camera, I want you to just imagine that this character that you did is walking in place. If the character is going to run, what you can actually do is then you can do a cut right here. You can say, oh, where the character is just he's gonna walk, and he's not gonna do anything, they're just gonna cut into a run. And so if you were gonna do this, if you're gonna cut into a run, just make sure your character is in a different place. So take your drawings and move them over into the middle or something. So now your character is running. Okay, so that would make sense. You're going to cut, make sure that you don't put the character right on top of this, or you'll end up having what's called a jump cut. And jump cuts are bad. For the rest of your life, just remember jump cuts are bad. They look like they're mistakes in film. You know, having it go from this position on the camera into this position on the camera is not the very best, but at least it's not a jump cut. All right, so you can do the same thing here. If you're going to do the walk, he's walking here, and then he's going to run here, then do the same thing. Then have him do the jump over here so that the camera looks like it's following him, but it might be trailing just a little bit behind. So we're going to say, okay, this is where we're going to have the jump. He's going to jump. And remember, there's lots of different examples out there. At this point is where, in this example, the camera can stop. And he's going to jump and land in the same shot. And you can have the catch in midair or something. And it's up to you, again, whether you wanted him to jump, land, and then catch. So here you're going to jump, and then he's going to, sorry, let me fix this a little bit. Land, and then he's going to catch whatever he's catching. So these are just like your visual notes here. But just keep in mind what I'm getting at here is the idea of how you're going to put these together. In one version of this, if you have your walk as a movie and your run as a movie, and then your catch, jump, land as another movie, then you could stitch 3 movies together. I believe, well, not everyone's using Rough Animator, but you can stitch them together. You can just copy and paste. In this Rough Animator, you can import video. You could just say, I'm going to import it. There's different ways you can copy and paste. There's different ways of doing it. If you're totally and absolutely confused by that, in your final, you can just put 1, 2, and 3 and have 3 separate little movies, because we don't need to talk about editing. All right, so this may make a little asterisk right there that That's what I mean, is that you can have 3 separate little files. And you've already got the walk and the run, so those are done anyway. So all we need to talk about is this jump and land. All right, so that's what I was getting at there. I'm going to take my notes and turn them down. Just let them sit there in the background. And on layer 2, let's just talk about the process of keys. So in this cut right here that we did between the run and the jump and land, you can actually put some space. And let me just take this background layer and take it out, or the notes layer, and take it out. It's going to bring the background with it. Well, let's just make it like 10 seconds or so. And I've said this before, but let's just keep talking about this. As the frames are going out into time, you can see these strong black lines here. There are 1, 2, and then 1 second. Another one, 3 seconds. So these are divided up into 8 seconds, 8 frames, and 8 frames is a beat. So on my notes layer, 8 frames equals a beat. There are 3 beats per second. It's just the way animation works. I would like to make one additional comment here just for career purposes. I'm going to take this out to 10 seconds, 120 frames. If you get a job as an animator, you might be working in a game company. And almost every game these days is at 60 FPS. But animators only animate at 30. It's up converted from 30 to 60. But there is a very big difference between animating at 24 FPS and 30. It's a very difficult thing to get used to, even though it's only 6 more frames. Your timing and the adjustment on that timing can be very nerve-wracking at best. So I would recommend getting familiar with, if you're going to think about animation, sticking with 24 FPS as long as you can, and then just making the timing and spacing conversion once. In all of my experience, in all the different studios, there were very, very few animators that could go back and forth. There were maybe 2 animators out of everyone I've always worked with. Maybe 2 different animators could switch between 24 and 30. And they ended up being brilliant, crazy, strange people anyway. They knew their craft inside and out. So for you, work at 24 FPS as long as you can. If you want to be an animator, expect at one point in your career that you're going to have to switch to 30 for both games, probably, and film. Unless you end up working at Pixar, they're still animating at 30 FPS. If you end up working at Cartoon Saloon, they're still at 30 FPS, they're still at 24 FPS. But things like Rick and Morty are animated at 30, and then they're up converted to 60. And if local TV stations are playing 120 FPS in HD, then they're only playing 60 FPS on 2s, if that makes any sense to you. And their beats are different. They're not going to have 8-frame beats, they're going to have 10-frame beats. For you, what this means is that this run and walk here are fine. You could even plan out to say walk, run, and the camera's following along with him. And then all of a sudden the camera stops and he runs off the screen. And then if that's a good thing to do, because that's going to only take 3 drawings, 3 or 4 drawings that you've already done, that all you have to do is copy and paste them and make sure the foot lands and that it just carries them off the screen. And that the other foot, so the character's position is just going to be head, head, head. And even in this sketch, there would only be 6 drawings. that you have to copy and paste from your timeline, and your character's off the screen. You just have to make sure that the feet don't move around on the ground plane. Actually, let me put the ground plane down here because that's the horizon. All right, does that make any sense to anybody? Does anyone have any questions about this? Because what I'm suggesting to you is for this last little part right here, this little catch and jump and land or whatever you want to do, don't start the action right away. Give yourself 2 beats. Give yourself 16 frames of nothing. Don't have the action start right away at all. Just start on frame 17. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drawing after, and it's going to be 16 frames. But take this back down to, just keep it on 8s just for right now. And so what I'm suggesting is to have 2 beats, 16 frames of nothing. That's a hold. That's called a hold. It's called a handle. Give yourself 2/3 of a second of nothing before this little action happens here. All right, that's my recommendation. And then on this frame right here, we're on 8s. So now I'm going to take my notes and diminish it just a little more, just so we can barely see it there. And let's get a true blue. And let's look at this guy jumping here. And so so we've got 8 frames of 16 frames of nothing. On this, we're going to be on 8s. So on 8s, what 8 frames mean is that we're 3 drawings per second. So each drawing is a beat. So right now we're just going to kind of copy that drawing. And this guy right here is going to jump over a box. So maybe even on my notes section, I can just draw a vanishing point, and I'm just going to give him a box. All right. We see that the character is leaning forward. Keep it the typical same size. There's a lean. There's a line of action. Get that rhythm in there. Notice where the foot is right here. The other foot is trailing behind it. The arms are getting ready to go into their anticipation. So this foot placement right here becomes important. All right, we're on 8s, so I'm going to go drawing after. All right, so let's see what the next one is. Now he's crunching down. So this one, he's continuing to move forward a little bit, but he's crunching down. It's almost like the line of action changes. It reverses itself. So his body becomes like this C shape, and this knee bends. This sticks out. This foot here starts to cross over. The arms have gone from the back into the front position. Just do those little sketches. And you could even make this more pronounced by saying, I'm going to make this even a bigger squash by reversing the arms and bringing his legs down even further. Just do a little sketch. The next drawing is his arms are coming up. So you've got this line of action or arc of motion happening with his head. And as it continues, it's going to move upwards and over the box and land. So that's like the arc of motion for his head. All right, so we're doing this 3rd pose right here. Actually, we're doing a 4th pose. And you can see here that in this position here, this foot has landed on the ground. So keep that one there, but and let's go backwards and just identify that this was the squash. And now this is the stretch. So this one, the foot's there, the line of action is really kind of straight. His body, his knee is bent like this. The other leg is just kind of off the ground already. His hands are coming up. In this drawing, he's in the air. So in this example here, he's touching the box, but in here, we're just going to give this guy momentum. You know, and at this point, you could think to yourself, it might be really easy to do a somersault over this box. And so let's just do a somersault over this box. So the line of action goes here. His feet come up underneath him. His arms are behind him. His head is going to kind of, just like the bouncing ball, stay in one place, but his body then is going to rotate. It's going to rotate a lot. So let's just get the head and body rotating. We're just drawing just quick little sketches. To speed up just a little bit. And we're not following our example anymore. So this one he's going to squash as he hits the ground. You could even squash one more time, bringing his head really far down and making it squashed, bringing the arms like this. Now we're going to maybe even need more frames. And so let's take a look at see what we've got. There should be nothing. All right, so he lands in a funny place here. I think that what we did is we originally wanted him to land out here on our note. You know, we can draw this arc of motion to make sure that I think he's falling just a little too far to the left. So what we can do is we can move things over a little bit. We could take everything and move it over, but let's just take this drawing right here and have him recoil. So now this is our main squash. He's going to come up in this drawing. So now he's going to come up. His feet are going to be in the same place. And let's just take this out. And get him to stand up. And I think this is about the build of our character when he first started to draw him. Let's see what we've got. All right, so when you have a hold like this at the beginning, you want to hold at the end as well. So this is just one beat. So take this out to a full 24 frames. And if you can just get your animation to start looking at this, you're looking at 150 frames, just a little over 11 seconds. But this is a good place to work from, where you're just working in the sketch form. It's true that our head kind of did a weird thing right here where it started to move backwards, which is kind of impossible. But this is a good way to work. It's a good way to think, hey, you know, I've got my head, body. Now you can go from keyframe to keyframe and kind of think about how he's moving. You put the arms in there. You know, he went off the screen. Now he's back on the screen. Yeah, this drawing here is a little funny, but hopefully you're getting the idea of how easily it can be to just time and space out your drawings very quickly with just real simple gestural forms. All right, so that's the last drawing. Let's take a look at this again. All right, so I think it's up to you. What is kind of interesting here, let's go keyframe to keyframe, is that this series of drawings going across the top here looks like it might be a little fast or a little slow because he's actually moving really fast. So once he gets to this position, you might want to take this drawing down to 4s. And then this drawing down to 4s. And this drawing down to, just speed up that action by taking the frames down to just 1/4 of a beat. He's still moving pretty fast here. So all the drawings where he's in the air, take him down to 4. Let's leave that one at 8. Let's take a look at, we've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drawings and taken them from 8s to 4s. So let's see what it looks like now. All right, so you see that that's a good way to start working. This cut on action right here, this hold, this handle, isn't quite working in this form because I believe he's already in motion here. And so even though I said this, I'm going to redirect this down to 1 beat and see if it reads a little better instead of 2 beats. And I'm going to take this last one and hold it for 32 frames, which is 1.5 seconds. Right, so you can see that this is a really good way to work with just a few lines, a few drawings. You've only got, invested a half an hour into just thinking about how you want your motion to work. And it could be on this frame right here that he catches something. He catches a pumpkin or something. And on your notes, you can say that the pumpkin was flying in from off the screen. And on this particular frame, he's going to catch it or whatever it is. Maybe it's a bomb. And then when he lands, he's going to still have that bomb with him. And then he's going to go, uh-oh, and then he's going to explode. So if you wanted to try something like that to be creative, you can explode your character. There's all kinds of different ways you can handle it. But the thing to think about here are your notes. So you're taking the idea that you were working with your script, you're matching those verbs, those actions. You're thinking about how many different cuts you have. Obviously, you can copy and paste things into one timeline in whatever application you're using. But the idea would be on your notes is to figure out where your character is. If he's going to just come in from off the screen and then jump and land, you could do that too. All right, so I'm going to just pause this for a second because I know that there are schools all over the world that do a run, catch, jump animation. And let's see if we can take a look at some. Now these might be copyrighted. So I'm going to turn the run, jump, catch is extra credit, Magnus. Yes. All right. I should have tried to cue these up. These are often called pencil tests.